Alright guys, so we got the tire off our bike. Next step, you're going to need a straighter valve removal tool, or valve stem removal tool, whatever people like to call it. And remove your dust cap. Pretty straightforward. Now, so first we're gonna put a little bit of tire lube on it. It's actually well, it used to be professional quality actual tire lube, and I ran out right now, or just realized I had ran out, so I just threw some Dawn dish soap in there and mixed it up. Dish soap's pretty good as a tire lube. Okay. Oh wow, easy money. One thing you're gonna have to pay attention to on the rear rim, when you're doing a rear rim, this surface right here, you know, just be careful so it doesn't get gouged, but it's pretty flat already, so you don't have to, you know, pay too much consideration to that. And there is a support bar right here, so you're pretty much good to go. The only thing you would have to worry about is your rotors, that they're actually off this surface of the bead breaker, because if it's not, there is a high chance you could bend or actually like warp your rotors by trying to break the bead. So it's very important that you pay attention to that. Maybe 3 or 4 times, we'll see. It also is going to depend on how old the tire is and whatnot. Okay, second notch right there. Make sure it's in. Nice. Okay, go ahead and rotate it. Second notch. So we could have got a little bit more that time. Oh, that's pretty much it on this side. Okay, cool. Let's break the other side now. So this is the side we gotta kind of pay a little bit of attention to. Just kind of double check to see how our rotor fits. If it's actually supported. The carpet gives it a little bit of leeway, so that's perfect. I would say that's safe. Let's go ahead and lube up our tire a little bit. Hydraulic bead breaker, like on a professional tire machine, sometimes you really don't need to, you just, you know, bust it off. But on something like this, because it is kind of on the light duty side, you're definitely going to want to use some type of tire lubricant so you can you know, minimize the stress on the machine.
How long do you have to take just to be here?
Nice.
Okay, watch me, guys.
Probably be a little bit easier to manipulate the pull bar. Okay. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. Go ahead and let's go ahead and just lube up our tire one more time. All right, gonna need some pry bars. I like these Motion Pros. They seem to be pretty good. All right, and the whole trick is to kind of break the bead all the way around and push it down. Kind of get in there. Typically, you're going to need about 2 to 3 spoons of tire irons in order to do this. Okay, and the whole trick, so you don't damage the surface of your rim with your pry irons, is by making sure you push the bead into the center of the rim, because the rim is actually elongated downwards, so it allows the bead of the tire to go into that depth, that deeper range of the rim, which allows you to pull the tire further away with your tire iron, and you won't damage the surfaces of your rim as easily. A lot harder on certain rims and certain bikes, but on these Jap bikes, you can do it all day with pretty much what we're doing right here. Okay, make sure it's all the way down. Then they'll pop out, and that's pretty much it. That was like the hardest part right there. And there it is. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and kind of pull the tire like that towards you. Go ahead and spray the inside a little bit. What you do is you kind of like pull towards yourself carefully. You try to pop it under this side of the bead right here in this open part. So you can see where I draw my spoonful. I'll show you how I do it. Like that. You just pull it. And I'll slowly loosen up irons. As you loosen up your irons, you'll realize that you're actually making way. Like that, and that should be it. Voila. That's how you take off the tire with some tire irons. Pretty straightforward. All our tires been drying for the last couple minutes. Now would be a good time to just kind of wipe off the surfaces of your rim. Not really too important, but we are working in our backyard mechanic now. So, you know, just want to try to do this as clean as possible for the most part. Having compressed air definitely helps. Okay, so for this next part, I've got observed tire direction. That'd be like the front direction here. Should be an indication mark on this tire. So it says go that way. So the tire is going to go on like that. So what I typically do, spray a little bit of lube. Doesn't hurt to spray a little bit on the tire too. Alright, take this bad boy and just, missed. That. Spray a little bit more lube. Okay. Work the tire in. Usually put like a knee right there to hold that bead down. Okay, and this is the most important part. Just holding down this bead. Go ahead and get your spoons. That bead in. And you can go ahead and use the other end. I like to use the other end for this last part. Kind of help get a little bit more leverage. Okay, stick it in and just, boop, that's it. And voila, tire's done. So now, let's go ahead and get our air chuck and let's go ahead and press tire balancing mark on it. This tire is pretty like old and used, so I don't really see one. But typically there'll be like a yellow painted spot from the tire manufacturer, and you would align that mark for tire balancing purposes with the tire stem, And what I've learned is like typically with these Pirellis and like, you know, Dunlops and most other higher quality tires, Bridgestones, getting that mark pretty close to the valve stem. I've noticed you don't even really have to balance the tire because they're just that well manufactured. So if you have that, it's a good key point to pay attention to. Wherever your yellow mark is on your tire, just go ahead and clock it to the same point as your valve stem, and your tire will be pretty much balanced at that point. So now at this point, we're going to go ahead and with the valve stem out, Schrader valve out, we're going to go ahead and pressurize our tire to seat the bead. Some tire, what do you call it, chucks, air filler chucks, whatever you want to call it, won't actually work with the Schrader valve taken out. If you have one of those types, you can still make it work, just got to be careful. This Dyco right here, Elite Series, actually seems to work with this attachment here. So let's see what happens. Let's go ahead and pull the tire up. See that bead right there? It should pop right there. Alright, there's one side. Let's see if we can make it pop on this side. We're about 34 psi on the gauge here. Try to keep your pressure in the tire. Have your valve stem ready, Schrader valve tool, and you want to pull it kind of quick so your bead doesn't loosen up, and go ahead and pop this Schrader valve in. Boom. Just like that. Now we can go ahead and set the tire pressure. Most tires are 42 psi cold. Let's go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and drop a little bit of pressure. There it is. Okay. Put your dust cap on. Okay, so now that right there completes our process for changing the tire. That came out pretty nice. Let's go ahead and go to the part where we put the tire back on.